So here we are talking about student loan forgiveness again. Now, I, for one, actually think it's perfectly fine for individual institutions, like let's say Harvard University or other colleges, to say to borrowers that have paid their debts back over long lengths of time that they would grant them money from their $5 billion endowment to help pay off their student loans. And I think that's the actual solution here. If I could just for one moment alert you to the fact that there are multi-billion-dollar endowments at many of these private universities that charge the highest rates of tuition. They utilize those endowments coupled with federal funds to offer low to zero cost tuition to certain groups of students who come to the university, students from low income backgrounds, students who are the first person in their entire family to ever attend college. They have certain criteria that they utilize to apply these extra funds. And I think that's great. I actually support that, those are private decisions made by private institutions, but it's not really a private institution if they receive billions of dollars in taxpayer funds, which many of these universities do. In fact, pretty much all of them do, the state run colleges as well as the private and Ivy League universities. And so, with that in mind, there is a certain disconnect that I see in the discussion surrounding student loans. And that disconnect revolves around the fact that you have a person who makes a decision to borrow money to go to college, and they place that borrowed money in the direction of the degree that they're seeking. And many of the individuals don't actually take time to look at the return on investment metrics for the university they're attending for the degree that they're seeking. And this is something that's easily done because we live in the age of technology. You don't have to do these complex calculations yourself. Many universities, especially the STEM universities, do that calculation for you. It's in your opening presentation. They actually have a paragraph up to a half a page on a piece of paper that you can carry out with you at STEM universities where they discuss the return on investment for the degree path that you're seeking, if it's in engineering, science, mathematics, and what the average starting pay for a graduate in the region where the university is located, what that average starting salary is. And then they do the ROI calculation and tell you at what point in your career you will have made back the money that you spent on the degree. For universities that don't do that calculation for you, you can go online and simply Google an ROI on degree path calculator. There's even a page on a government website run by the federal government at the Department of Education that will help you with this. And so, with that in mind, it's really not logical for people who did not complete a college degree or take out loans. A lot of people complete college degrees without loans to have to be forced to take on a $450 billion debt to pay for those who did take out loans. And I understand both scenarios. I have no student loans. My husband has student loans. He has an MBA. I think his return on investment is exponentially justifiable. But in that example, these were choices that he and I made in order to get to the place where we could land in our careers that we desired. So it's a private decision. For the universities, the ROI is actually decoupled from any responsibility that they have to make sure that they're educating people and the people are getting their money's worth because the student loans are run by the government. So if student loans were run by colleges and universities or were somehow connected to the university where the student attended, then you would see a much stronger push for people to take degree paths that would yield actual jobs and a profession that they could make money in so that they could pay back those loans. That disconnect is a part of the problem here. The other disconnect is the logical common sense that people are lacking and expecting people who had not made their decision to pay for it. We don't owe people who got degrees in basket weaving, Black studies, women's studies, cultural studies. We don't owe those people any money to help them pay for their degrees. They have to pay or they have to declare bankruptcy. Maybe President Biden could roll back the decision that he made. It was legislation he co authored and actually championed, which removed the ability for people who have student loans to add those student loans to a bankruptcy filing. Because your debt is actually undischargeable, people are forced to deal with it for the rest of their lives. So, two judges, federal judges, have struck down this latest iteration of President Biden's student loan forgiveness package. It will be placed on hold. Not sure how that will work for everyone who's participating in it, but thanks, President Biden. Up next, should CNN be forced to pay upwards of $1 billion from a defamation suit? We'll have more on this after the break.